We have 1 minute, so hopefully everybody's feeling as relaxed as I am. Uh, I'm kidding. I'm not relaxed just yet, but hopefully we will be relaxed together once we kind of get going. And I hope that this will not just be a one-way conversation, right? That after we get through the slides, whereas there's not that many slides, right? That mostly it'll be questions y'all might have or ideas. You know, we're still in the idea phase here, so um, that'll be something. So it's 9 o'clock. So let's get started, and just let's try to have fun. That's what I was telling myself. Let's try to have fun. Myself, I'm just kidding. So this is being recorded, so I just want to remind y'all, and it's a good reminder for me that it's being recorded, so I got to be on my best behavior. So welcome to the orientation and first year experience open house. And I think we're at the tail end of these. And so if questions have come up and you've attended others, I welcome any input and feedback on this. And like I said, we have a few slides here, or I have a few slides here, and so I'll try to keep up with the chat as I'm presenting, but it'll just be information. If you have questions, please make sure that you bring them up after we go through some of this, or even within the chat, and I'll try to get through them at that point. Okay, let's get going. And it's already, I guess it's being recorded already, I believe. So we'll get going. So, well, let me get going on here. So the overview this is a familiar slide, right? The overview, we're going to just kind of do a really quick definition of the area, just kind of what are some of the challenges, or why is this why is this program even being developed and discussed, right? So what are some of the reasons and the rationale for that? Kind of talk about a little bit about systems thinking, but set your expectations not high, because this is going to be just a really general systems thinking kind of process. And then the timeline was something that was already discussed in the roundtables, but we can kind of talk through some of that as we kind of go along in the discussion portion, and then questions and discussion. So it's general overview. So really, what are we solving, and what is orientation and first year experience? Again, why are we doing this here at ACC? And so what maybe we've heard is there's some inconsistent student onboarding experiences across campuses that would be leading to gaps in persistence, engagement, belonging, and student outcomes. So while we have great orientation team and we have great products, the first year experience lives kind of throughout the institution, right, throughout the college and various departments. We want to find a consistent approach for this, and really based on research, based on best practices. And so that's what we're going to be trying to build. So what we want to do is launch a centralized orientation and first year experience program, right? And to have it for sure be student centered, to have it be collaborative, to make sure that it's keeping in mind the various types of students that are at ACC, that attend ACC, but also to make sure that we establish a culture of belonging and engagement and support and welcoming from the very start. So before they even get to their first class, we should try to engage with the students and try to get them on campus, right? What we want to do also is coordinate the programming across student affairs and academic departments. One thing that I've been emphasizing in some of these conversations with various partners and with some of y'all is that a lot of this work is already being done, a lot of it, and a lot of great work. So I don't want to come in this team to come in and we're seeming like we're taking over, or taking something that, saying that it's not great, because there's so much great stuff happening. What goes on at ACC, and this is what I've experienced myself, it's like we have lots of great offerings for things, and maybe they're dispersed among different teams and small teams, and so it puts the heavy load on smaller teams, and then maybe the attendance might not be as strong because students are going to all different types of events. So why not bring them together and collaborate and make sure that we're offering something that as a team, we could make sure that we get students good attendance and good support and not burn out people because they're having to do multiple things, right? So how will we measure success? So ideally, right, but as we're doing this work, we're going to be meeting the goal, the North Star goal, and we're going to be helping increase the persistence rates for students. So our activities should be focused on making sure students get to the end goal, right? And besides their experience and belonging at ACC, making sure that they know how to what their next steps will be, but also what success would mean for them. We want to make sure that we have high participation in orientation and FYE programming, and that students will report a sense of belonging, confidence, and preparedness through their surveys, focus groups, and assessments that we embed in different activities. And again, we want to have consistent onboarding processes across the campuses and not have a bunch of duplication. And then strong coordination. And so how will we collaborate with other areas? And so basically, I could have just put a slide here that says we will be collaborating with everybody. So but I named all our offices here and gave some examples as to how, and I look forward to hearing more examples, right, from people. Sorry, I'm going to get some water real quick. So we'll collaborate with Student Life and Leadership. I mean, that definitely, I talk to Student Life a lot now, and I'm like, help me, right? Give me some ideas. And they've been so wonderful and have shared the work that they've done and have really been supportive throughout this really early process. And I want to take some of the things that they do and apply some of those lessons and concepts to our area, and then work again along with them. And then we'll work, of course, with student rights and responsibilities. We would be the front end letting students know about these expectations. And of course, they're carried out through a different department. We'll work with transfer services, career and life design, advising, and accelerated learning supports, right? We'll make sure, what we want to do is we want to make sure that career exploration and transfer is early on, right? It's discussed early on with students, and that we're establishing those warm connections. And so we're letting them know about these services up front. We're not doing the work, right? We're letting them know about it, and then we're working with our partners to connect our students to that. Of course, financial aid is a really strong piece of it. And we had a really great presentation from the design team co-chairs at our SA Council meeting yesterday. And they talked about really making sure students, that we're doing a lot of good work in how students are paying for school and for classes. And a lot of the things were things that could be reinforced during orientation. So I was really excited to see that. Enrollment management, we need to work with our partners in admissions and enrollment and assessment to make sure that our students are being guided to the orientation. And of course, our other partners, TLED, OIRA, high school programs, and our instructional partners, we want to embed some information sessions into this. And one of the things that we've already gotten started, we meaning Liz and I, my admin, because we're a team of 2 right now, we have an advisory committee that we started. And so it's really great membership from various departments and areas, and just really understanding some of the work that's already going on through the other departments. And so we're kind of taking some of that and understanding how to incorporate that or streamline. So what y'all want to know probably is more of this, right? You've heard some of the other things already, but these are the regional director roles that we'll be posting soon, right? And so when they post, they're going to post as regional director, right? It's not going to have the different categories, but when the team is hired, and as we're understanding who's hired, we're going to be I'll be looking, and the committee, whoever that will be looking for the skills within these areas. And then as a team, we'll kind of decide, right, who goes where, right? And so strategy will be focused on the data and the priorities, theory of change, help us understand and implement strategies that are focused on reaching our HB8 goals, leading data review and assessment to guide our strategy and improvement, and then serving as a communication lead for the different initiatives. and then also, of course, responsible for planning. And I just want to point out that just because we have these categories, it doesn't mean that one person will only do this, another person will only do this. This will be shared work across the areas. And I think that's really important that whoever I would have the privilege of working with on this team um, will be somebody who is flexible, adaptable, patient, but also works really well together and understands that we are shaping our department. And being at the front end means that we might have to do some changes, right? And before we launch things. And so I definitely, and also working together to support each other. So I definitely really look forward to having a team that's really cohesive, really supportive, and really committed to each other and to students, and excited about this. And then the programming would be focused on the curriculum. So FYE, the first year experience aspect of this is having a year-long curriculum built out that incorporates what's happening across the college, right? So we want to design that, and we want to check with our partners to make sure that we're putting things in the right place, things that they're already doing. And then we work together to say, hey, maybe this might make more sense at this side of the semester. And we're going to use the data and the research that supports some of that. And I know this has been mentioned and probably all the presentations, I don't know for a fact, but the rhythm of the semester, right? We've heard a lot about that. And so we want to keep that in mind and put things in the places. And so like for orientation, we want to make sure that we're breaking out the information in modules that are digestible for students so that it's impactful. And so the programming, the person who's looking at programming will help us do that. And then operations would be developing the SOPs, looking at tools, workflows, calendars, and overseeing accountability, working with campus managers, different things to make sure that we're focusing on the spaces and the amount of sessions that we have and things like that. So, and then leveraging technology to improve our processes. So making sure that we are maximizing whatever resources we have and that we're learning what they are. There'll be a lot of training. There'll be a lot of training each other, like learning from experts, and really investment in understanding these processes. So that way we are making it easier for our students. Okay, so this is a quick explainer. I needed this for myself. This may or may not be helpful for you. You might be like, I got enough from that, but it's there. So we'll talk about it, right? So strategy, what does it mean when we talk about these things? And this is how my interpretation of this, it's the strategy is the why and what direction, right? The purpose and the outcomes. So the focus would be alignment, goals, metrics, communication, planning. So are we doing the right work? So as we're looking at things and we're assessing and evaluating and improving, we need to make sure that it's making an impact, right? Is it aligned to the goals, but is it making an impact? And that's the important part. And if it's not, then we need to get together and think about what is it that we need to change. And so there'll be a lot of that, right? And then operations is how and when, and the process plus the delivery, right? The systems, the SOPs, technology, we talked about all this, accountability. It's more about, are we doing the work right? So we could be doing the right work, but if we're not doing it right, it's not going to be making the right type of impact. So before we throw things out and say, oh, this isn't working, we got to see like where do we need to make sure that we're doing what we need to do. And so the operations would be monitoring delivery, compliance, consistency of execution, so that we're making sure that we're not changing things because for the wrong reasons. And then programming is the what and who, student experience plus content, right? When we talked about that with the curriculum, the engagement, the events, and what students experience and who is involved is what this is. It's how I interpret it. And if there's more that needs to be in there, let me know and we'll talk through it. The coordinator roles, that's where the coordinators are going to be the front line. They're going to be where the energy is. Coordinators are going to be the ones that are working with the students. I mean, we're all going to be working with our students. The expectation is, it doesn't matter if you're a director, you'll be involved. It doesn't matter if I'm executive dean, I'll be involved. I want to attend. I want to get to know the students again, right? Back to my old job that I used to have. So the coordinators will be coordinating the logistics, the delivery of the orientation event and the FYE programming in collaboration with different partners. So co-facilitating, maybe even just solely facilitating live and virtual events that we might have, different support services, implementing FYE activities that are tied again to student belonging, engagement, and academic preparedness, and then tracking student attendance. So of course the logistics of things and the day-to-day things, we want to make sure that like we're getting feedback from students and that we're saying how many people are attending so we can modify or improve, and then providing frontline support to students. And so really this is a very, very important role, and it's really going to be the face of our team, right? And bringing the mission, and then of course supporting the current orientation platform and making sure that our tools are up to date. Okay. Oh, so that was my last picture. Like this is the last part of the information, but all the changes happened really quickly. Like from we were thinking December, and now it's became September. And so we're fully embracing. Liz and I are fully embracing our new roles and in our team of 2. So we're very, very excited to have a team of more. And so, but of course, I want to say thank you to my central region. And so I just wanted to put this picture out there. I wanted to really acknowledge that, we had some great times in our region, great support. And I really want to say we're still here. Maybe some might be part of this team in the future, but I didn't get a chance to really disconnect at that point, right? So thank you all very much. And then I'm here for questions on here. So let's get it. And you can please turn on your mic, Tony.
So yeah, I did have a quick question about so we know there are going to be 3 regional directors. How many coordinators do you know? Are there going to be like, is there
Yes.
going to be a coordinator per region or per campus, or do you know that yet?
Yes. So on the organizational chart, sorry, I didn't put that in there, but from the previous presentations, right, there's going to be 9, so 3 per region. And so, yeah, there'll be initially 9 coordinators. And it's, yeah, so that's, so we're still looking at course space options and things like that, but regionally, we want to have a campus presence. Part of my vision too is the beginning. I want us to be together a lot because we need to shape who we are and our identity, and we need to be visible, of course. But as a team, we want to get on the same page, and we want to really be get as strong as possible in understanding where we need to reinforce things and where we need, where we're doing great already, and just getting to know each other and our strengths, and that way we shape like the department into what it could be. And but we also want to make sure that we're also like connecting with our campuses. All right, Kristen.
Hi, good morning. I was wondering if the incoming new directors are going to be a part of the hiring process for the coordinator roles.
Yes, ideally, yes, because they're going to post first, right? And so that would be my preference. And so as long as the timing works, right, then we want that, people that are going to be supervising that staff should have a voice in that process. So. And I think I see a question that somebody asked, will dual enrollment, dual credit or college partners be part of this or just trad? It will be all students ideally, right? And that's the vision, that all student types and all learners would be part of this. And we are working with, I've connected with Misan and Jason to kind of make sure that we're incorporating their input and their feedback into this. So again, to be developed, but yes, it's been mentioned that would be really beneficial for them as well. Other questions, other input, other feedback? Please.
You got a question in chat.
Mm-hmm.
Will dual enrollment or ECHS students be a part of this or just trad students?
Oh, I just answered that.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. You're probably, but do I need to, does anybody else need more clarification on that? No? All right, thank y'all for coming by. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't be shy out there. Let me stop sharing so I can see who's not paying attention. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, let's talk. Tony, you already had your one question that I gave you, that I fed you to ask.
No, so I was wondering about the relationship between orientation and first year experience and some of the other areas, or some of the other executive dean areas, or AVC areas. For example, I would imagine that you'll be leaning on the Clifton strengths of the other areas. Like, for example, student life already has activities that they're going to be doing. They've got the blow up beach balls and the popcorn machines and all that stuff. That's kind of a big part of their Clifton strengths. And I'm assuming orientation first year experience would be interfacing with that more than rebuilding something like that, for example. Is that right? Do I have the right idea?
That is exactly correct. Right. We won't, like, it's really incorporating some of that work into the curriculum and infusing it in there at the right timing. And it's not doing it all, because I mean, of course, there'll be 3 regional directors and 9 coordinators, right, that can't do all the things that need to happen in first year experience. In addition to that, there are already experts who do this well. So we don't want to take something that's already working really well, but we want to partner and bridge that. And that's really the big vision. So that's been a concept that, when I first took the role, right, as I'm going, I'm learning too. Like, I'm learning along with everybody else, and that's going to be the fun part, right? Because what I know isn't everything that is the way it's going to happen, right? So we're looking at the experience, at the student experience, right? And so how do we make them feel welcome? How do we integrate like the resources into the information that we're providing? But so that's why I've been relying and leaning really heavily, putting a lot of pressure on student life, right? I'm like, sorry guys, I'm asking you for information again, but they already do this so well. The other area, because I see Vincent here, the other area is like recruitment. They already do great things, and it's a different, right? These are students that are before they maybe are getting into ACC, and I'm not going to speak for Vincent and the roles that they do, right? It's my interpretation here, but they also engage their students that they've interacted with and bring them in and do some in-person sessions with them. And so it's kind of saying, like, what is it that's working, that's worked well for y'all, and do we want to replicate that? Do we want to jump in with that? Do we want to streamline that? And so that's going to be what this time period will allow us. So the planning is, and the team, when they get started, that's why I'm like really, really looking forward to the regional directors getting on board, because they're going to have to hit the ground running with making sure that they're connecting with our partners and that we get something concrete down. Because we've just been talking about, even though we didn't officially, September is like the official, right? I don't remember when this was, just when we were named in our role, right? But so I've already been having a lot of meetings about these things. And so I'm ready for like concrete, right? Like action, and let's get this going. And so there's other questions in there, I think. What do you see already at ACC that you see falling within FYE curriculum? So career exploration, transfer information, student life experience, peer mentoring. We want to definitely support that. We want to include peer mentors or student ambassadors in the orientation and some of the live sessions, connecting with our welcome service partners, right, to make sure that that students are being encouraged to seek out the additional resources. The other area, so I'm just gonna, if I forget a department, forgive me, because like I said, everyone will be in this. But we've worked in our like advisory committee and meetings before. TLED is doing a lot of things, and so there's Manel who did the flight path or river flight path. So she's working with us, or she's observing some of the things that we're doing, and we're going to help contribute to that, or she's going to help tell us, kind of give us input on that. Arun is working on with EDUC and some other general education courses on character education. And we want to infuse that in, not in the way that they're doing it on the academic side, but infusing that into the work, even like with peer mentoring and academic integrity and civic engagement, volunteer work. Service learning, Chris has some good ideas that he's going to be bringing. So like really, when I mean everyone, it's going to be everyone. And the other thing, and I'll get to Jenny or Jeannie real quick, but the other thing is because so many things happen at ACC in all different areas and we're so big, one of the things that I envision is that orientation first year experience at least will be a department where we can be the central point where people come in. I mean, people check with us. We can be like a repository of information where people check if it seems like it's orientation or first year experience, not permission, but somebody has an idea like, I want to do this service learning project. Is anybody else doing it already, or who's already involved in this work? And so we can be like a repository for information and then connect the people, right? So right now, if we don't know who's sometimes doing what, right? And so we might say, oh, check with so-and-so, and they might be like, that's not me, that's not me. I wanted us to be like, that's us, but we're not doing it, but we know who is. And so, you know, here's who you would talk to, right? And so maybe at least some of that. Okay, Jenny?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay. It's Jeannie. But I currently work in student affairs, and I was just curious if you have plans. I know you said that like orientation and first year experience is going to be for the ECHS students as well. But my curiosity is more leaning on like, are you going to be working with like people who already work in the high schools to kind of bridge that gap of students that have applied to ACC, but then so many of them just don't show up for whatever reason. So that's just my curiosity.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't want to pretend like, yes, I thought of that, right? I mean, but that's going to be something that we, you know, Jason, Misan, Devin, and anybody else, right, could let us know what's needed, what's missing, and yes, and engaging with those other partners. No, like we have a lot of ECHS students at Elgin. I mean, in a lot of the different campuses, but at Elgin is one of them, and that's a big population, and so they already have really good connections with the high schools, but that's where we can come in and also support and understand and learn, right? So this will be a period of learning as well. And so one of the big things would be like asking for your patience and helping us, that we might not have thought of everything, but we and I can say I personally value any input, any feedback, any help, anything that y'all have as experts and people on the front lines that work with these students. And so I welcome any input. And also, if you're interested in being a part of anything, let us know, and you can kind of see how we incorporate that. So that would be the ideal part, that we have maybe a pathway for all students so that they can get that information regardless of the student type.
Roxanne, if it's helpful, I was gonna kind of pull up some of the questions that are higher up in the chat so they don't get lost, if that's helpful, while other people are kind of sharing out other questions. But there was a question earlier around who will the department consider first year?
Oh, I did see that question. I was hoping it would get lost. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, that's where we'll work with our OIRA partners to make sure that we are identifying the students, right? Because there's a free tuition cohort that we could start with before we fully launch, right? There might be some opportunities there. But the way that we define first year at ACC sometimes is varies and different things, right? Depending on the category. And so we still need to identify who that will be. And Carl and his team currently, they probably already have some of this information or this information. And so I'll work with them to make sure that, they'll know like what were some of the points that like they've already gone through some of this already. So they'll know, hey, here's who we consider, here's who, and here's why. And so, but we'll definitely also work with the OIRA. And what I also want to do is get to when we're doing through this work is again using some of the research, but also kind of establishing like a glossary of them, and some of it's already out there. So we're not going to be recreating things, right? But making sure that we all are saying, here's who it is, and we're identifying the students. So we're speaking the same language, right? And then going from there. But these are all good points on there. And if whoever had that question, if you have other input or other things that need clarification, please jump in. And then somebody wrote, I'm guessing EDUC, Ascended Brass Capital Idea would fall well in this pathway. Yeah, we definitely want to partner with them. I need to, I have it on my list to get in touch with some of our EDUC partners. We're already working with Beth and Antonio and different people, but also Edgar. We want to just kind of get with them. And then with Sharon and George, from that work with the general studies, and Stuart from health sciences. So a lot of people, and then Capital Idea will definitely get them on our radar to work with Eva. So Ascended and Brass, they've been doing this work already. So they will be, we've already talked to them about with information and their best practices, but they'll definitely be contributors to this work. So anything else?
Can I elevate another question in the chat?
Sure.
Okay, so will there be an office at each campus for these roles, or would they primarily be virtual roles?
No, there will be a campus presence. And so the expectation is that people will be on a campus, right? Somewhere. And because that's the big part of it. Like, we need to be engaging with the students. We need to make sure that we're connecting with our partners. And we want to, again, have, the vision is to have some live sessions, right? And live, like in person, I guess I'm saying live, but in person, different in-person information sessions, not just orientation, right? And so will they be at every campus? No, I mean, we have 9, so obviously that won't be at every campus, but will they visit every campus or have opportunities to engage with every campus? Yes, all of us will. And then specific location, we're still working through some of that. So we still are, with this large change, we need to make sure that we're keeping everything in mind. Yeah. Jennifer?
Yes. First of all, thank you for being just transparent and just being down to earth. So definitely appreciate
You're welcome.
that. So I'm part of Student Life, not just beach balls and popcorn, but definitely the incubator of programs here. For the coordinator position, is there going to be any advising, like how you have like the orientation advisors?
No, and so as far as the actual coordinators doing the advising, no, and the way that if we look at the functional wall, or what was it called? The table, that advising is under its own, category. So I think part of the intent was to make sure that we're streamlining the services in the respective offices. And so that this position does not include advising. But it doesn't mean that advising won't be part of some of the work, right? And that's to be determined, and working with Kathy and Monique and everybody to make sure that how do we make sure that students are getting to that part of it, right? But not in it's the way it's currently exists.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Tony.
Yeah, and I want to apologize, Jennifer. I didn't mean my comment about beach balls and popcorn to come off as flippant. I know y'all do way more than just beach balls and popcorn. I think that was just my cover term or thought for fun things that students do. But I apologize if it seemed like I was diminishing things down to or reducing what y'all do down to those kind of things. I don't think that at all.
All
Thank you,
good. We're
Tony.
all in this together, Tony.
Yay. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Tony. And thank you, Jennifer. Yes. And again, yeah, student life, like they've done first year experience. They've done peer mentoring. Remember TOP, whoever's been here a little bit longer, the orientation experience. And so we've talked about like, we need that, some of that element again. All right. Myra.
I just wanted to sort of add to what Tony's doing with the beach balls. They also have blow up soccer. It has you can get the soccer goals, and it's field hockey kind of. You buy the things and you hit balls into the goals. And I've done that for teamwork. And I saw my meekest employee, very middle-aged Muslim woman who was extremely shy, get out there and knock people down trying to get the ball in the goal. But those kinds of things work, and they don't cost that much. I've always used my own money. Sometimes you might be able to get ACC to do it, but that's great to make people meet and actually share with one another. I just wanted to throw that out.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. There's a question. Vijay, is that how?
Yes.
I'm getting some good questions from you.
Sorry, I get that a lot. It's cool. I want to, yeah, I'm sure you have a picture of what you want that individual student to experience. And I love to, yeah. And
Yeah.
not that it's finalized.
Right. And so again, to develop it together, but yes, so some of like, so it'll look like students getting to where they need, one, showing up to class the first day, informed, right? And knowing where they're going, not trying to look for their class, right? Not trying to find not showing up to Highland and they have class at Northridge, right? We want to start the communication early and the engagement early if we can. Not showing up and saying my class was canceled and I didn't know, right? So try to communicate and get some of that at the front end, right? Engaging them and welcoming them before, again, the first day. This is the ideal. This is the vision, right? And it'll take all of us to make this happen, right? It'll take every single one of us at ACC to make sure that we provide this level of service to our students. So if we can engage students before the first day of class, then they might have the opportunity to already meet a faculty mentor, peer mentor, another staff mentor. And so they feel not scared and nervous. And so a lot of us, we volunteer for the wayfinding, right? The first days of class, and you see the energy and the excitement of students and the nervousness. And so it'd be great to like have them know that they have a resource here already. The other thing, it's not just about that, right? It's about making sure that they are successful at the end, so that we have a job at ACC, not just, it's not just like, let me make you feel good and welcome, right? Like we also want to make sure they're expecting us to know what we're doing, to know what we're talking about, to understand like that their needs and their goals. And so we should be able to get them to the end goal, whatever that is, right? It could be an associate's, it could be transfer, it could be career, it could be a certificate, adult ed, it could, so that success to me would be the student getting to the outcome that they actually intended, not leaving with a bunch of dead or classes that were dropped because they were in the wrong placement, not getting last minute, courses because, ideally we're going to build a culture. We want to build a culture of like being proactive and working again with our recruitment partners, our welcome center partners, our TSI assessment partners to help make sure that at every step of the way, we're communicating similar messages, right, of support and communicating, period. The other thing is just making them, again, having a culture belonging from day one, and then also coordinating the relevant events at the relevant time. So if we're throwing everything at students in the first, before they're even at ACC, before they even start their classes and they can conceptualize ACC, then we are bombarding them with information that they might not even understand they need, and they might not even remember to go back to wherever it was. So if we can we can curate the curriculum to be at the right time, and the right chunks of information, right? And accessible and easy to find. And so we can make if we break out some of the modules out from different departments, right? Like, so orientation has its piece, right? But if we have TSI is very complex. It needs its own little category, right? It's in the module, but maybe we should break it out and put it into its category so students can click that video. Financial aid, they can click a video. And then they know where to go back and get the information, right? Getting through your first week. A lot of this is, again, already done, but it's maybe not put in front of the student in a way that they can understand. And I'm coming from the perspective of, if I was having to do this, I know the way I am, I would just click and get through it, and then I would forget where it was. And then hopefully I would have made some friends who are really smart, and they would have told me where to go back and find the content. But you never know, right? So if we know some of those things, let's try to make it happen, right? And again, with our partners. Roman.
Hello and good morning, everybody. So Roxanne, I have a question. I know that the positions that are opening up along the executive deans throughout the conversations that we've seen, I'm not looking at the regional directors, I'm not looking at the directors or the coordinators, but do you anticipate other positions that are in the coordinator to hourly that are going to be expanded so that people that are if there's no availability for coordinator or director or regional, but people want to be in your organization or in your team, are there going to be opportunities for hourlies and I don't know that the scale yet or the chart, but I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot of opportunities for people that want to get in it, maybe at the ground level or at just somewhere in there that are not the director and regional stuff that always gets the flair, right? I'm talking about the people that want to be on the ground and doing it. So just a question for that. I mean,
currently the way the organizational chart is, and again, because we're new and we're building this, it's the regional director and then the coordinators. Well, and of course the senior admin, a very important person who's really going to be our best friend for everything on this, right? Liz, she's amazing. But that's the coordinators are going to be on the front line, and so that's where I feel like opportunities could come. Now, as far as having like hourly or other areas, that's not in the plan right now. If we grow, and again, depending on how, the program growth, right, then we have opportunities for that. We through our budget, we should have with like we want to have student workers, we want to have student ambassadors, and that's going to be one of the areas that we're going to really work with. But as far as that, we don't have a current plan hourlies, because again, we want to be careful not to overstaff, right?
so the entry positions that are going to be in your area are the coordinators.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I guess that was probably the question, the
Oh,
answer.
okay. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's why you explained it. I just didn't know. And if I came on late, so if you showed it, the chart already, I apologize. I missed that. But just asking for a few people that are interested. But there's a lot of people that have spoken, and this goes across everybody, that they may not meet the educational requirements for positions, but they've been at the college for X amount of years, and they have more experience than just what the education's needed. But anyway, so I just wanted to ask that question because a few people were asking. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. So, Lydia. Linda? Did you have a?
I did have a question. It was kind of in pairings with Roman's question about having like student orientation leaders and things like that, but you did answer that in that response. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Roxanne, can I jump in?
Yes, ma'am.
Just for clarity. Good morning, y'all. Just in that conversation, and Roxanne answered it perfectly, and I didn't want to interrupt just the conversation y'all were having. Our students are seen as hourlies in our system. Sometimes it's hard to see them in Workday separately from a non-student hourly. So when Roxanne was talking about, there are going to be plenty of opportunities for students to be leaders because those are some of the best people to be able to support students in an orientation and first year experience journey. So that part of the hourly won't go away. That's always available. And I'll leave it as that because I think Roxanne answered everything, but I don't want anyone to come back and later say, but you hired hourly and you said they weren't in there, but students are seen in Workday as that. That's kind of how currently they're set up. So just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. Dr. Buchanan, if there's anything else you need to add or want to add.
I'm enjoying being a backseat driver.
Well, thank you for being other questions or input recommendations, making sure that it's on our radar. Anything?
I have another question.
How involved, sorry, this has to be, well, again, Tamara just put a question about Henry, my dog. And so I'm not kidding when I say that just changes everything. Woo, everything. Like I get really happy. And so should have seen, I was like, my endorphins or whatever went like sky high. So how involved will Henry be with FYE? Well, Henry's my dog, my miniature schnauzer. He's busy. He's not going to be able to be as involved, but he might be in the background. He's a grumpy dog. He's a miniature schnauzer. The way they look is the way they act sometimes, right? So you might not want them. Olga knows. He growls at Olga anytime when we got him during the pandemic. He was not very friendly to her. So she hasn't broken the ice with Henry.
No, I wonder if he's heard things about me is why.
But we want to, I might want to have we definitely want to have fun times with pets and people could brag about their pets. And I want to put a disclaimer on there. Oh, the mascot. Yeah. A disclaimer. I used to, he's been almost like one of my first pets. I didn't really grow up with pets. Didn't ever want pets. So he's 4.5. My first time really having a pet, and oh my God, why in the world did I not do this? Right? So much love and happiness and somebody that actually is excited when you get home. And so it's so wonderful, but he is just on his own terms, right? He when I got home the other day, it happened to be right at his eating time. And usually I get home and he throws himself, he's down and he's wagging his body. And then, but it was eating time and I could not compete with that food. I walked in and I'm like, hey, and he's just totally ignoring me. So I can't guarantee how he'll be, so I can't involve him too much. All right. So thank you, Tamara, for making my day with that question. Other stuff is very important too, but that was my favorite. So what else before you get to go on with your day to day? Any ideas, any recommendations? Have they been determined that I think we're still waiting for some guidehouse information. I don't know as far as the way that they're listed now with the coordinator, it's, bachelor's degree, I believe, and I don't know if anything's changing. So I don't, I think that should be coming soon, but we'll see. Will group orientations be offered at each campus? We hope so. We hope that we can reach we hope to incorporate this at every campus for all students so that they have, all students have an equitable access to some of this. And so we'll work on it. We'll determine, the team will determine, the schedules and things like that so that, how that would work and be incorporated into that. Do we know where they'll be assigned to? No, not at this time. We're working on the space, you know, again, as a bigger group because changes are happening in all areas. But we also, when people apply, it's going to be, there's not a location that's identified. People can mention their preference, but it's going to depend on, you know, all the factors. And I know that's a hard one for people because it's important. And we hope to have more information to be able to kind of help you make your decisions, right? Because we definitely value and think that's important as well for people. And anything else will always be under FYE at all. Their caseloads are still freshman heavy, right? I don't, Adriana, do you want to so it just depends on what people apply for, I guess, as far as orientation advisors. Is that who you're asking about?
Yeah, I know the position itself is kind of being sunsetted, and I think they're supposed to be like regular advisors. But to my understanding, their caseload is still very freshman heavy. So would it make sense to have that team of people under FYE?
Advising services, the way that it's set up on our chart is like keeping advising under advising and not mixing that. And that's sort of the way that the consultant and through all the discussions, I guess, determine some of that. And so it's a separate category, and not that we won't work together in that aspect, but that's kind of how it's been set out. Yeah.
Okay.
And so any other questions? I wanted to put a clip of Coach Taylor, clear eyes, full hearts or something, but I didn't want to, I'm like, I don't know if that makes sense. But what I do want to say is that looking for like people who are to join this team who, again, care for students, that's common sense, right? Everybody knows that. Really cares for students, really cares for each other. A team that works really well together and that we can laugh together. Not a lot of crying, hopefully, but if it happens, we cry together and then we move forward. You know, we've done that as a team, right? That we enjoy our jobs. We come to work feeling happy and excited and really privileged to work together with the people who we work with and for the students we work for. And then really, like, if you think about, Tony mentioned Clifton strengths, like my Clifton strengths are more like people and ideation. Mario will know this because we worked together for a long time. I'm full of ideas, right? But somebody needs to put a stop, right? Someone needs to execute. And so I need yeah, Mario, you can stop already. No, I'm just kidding. We need to execute. So there will be people who are good at planning, good at executing, good at implementation, good at directing, like making sure that we're going in the right direction and stopping point, right? Of like, okay, let's move to action, right? I'm not shy about that. I can tell you that I know my strengths. I know my areas where I need to rely on a good team that brings that. And so, and also the team has to be balanced, right? If we have a bunch of people who are, let's make business only, right? And then we need the balance of all that, right? And so that's where I look forward to kind of seeing how this works and really just excited that for the interest and yeah. So I'm available if you have questions after. I know that there's probably other questions that I can't answer that you really want to know, but we're through our SA comms area, they're sharing as much as they can at, you know, as soon as we get it through our area. So, but if you have questions about anything, reach out and happy to help. And I appreciate it. Anything else? Did I miss any other questions, Emily, or anything? But sorry if you stopped looking, but.
No, I think you got through them all. Yep.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, we'll call this a closed shop, right? Oh, wait, somebody said creating a strong foundation. Yeah. Yay. Thank you. Thank you all for the positive vibes in this group. And I appreciate it and continued support. And please, if I don't know you and you have things that you think we need to make sure, please reach out. Like, tell me, I don't know it all at all. I don't know a lot. So I know enough to have gotten this job. I'm just kidding. I know enough to be dangerous, right? I'm kidding. I'm kidding about that, guys. You're in good hands. But like, I don't consider myself the expert on everything at all. And so please reach out. See y'all later. All right. Have a great day.
And
Bye-bye.